Hi, I'm Brixenta, and let's do some digital art. The program I've been using is Ibis Paint, and it's free. I've been doing digital art for about a week now, and I just wanted to show you my process. This is everything I've done so far. The first one I couldn't figure out how to delete at the time, but I just did. And now let's take a look, if I can click the right button, let's take a look at the first piece I did. I wanted to make it look rounded and add some depth. That one, I was experimenting and it failed, but I did it. This one, I really liked the technique I used, but I wasn't happy with the piece until I ended up adding a feature, which was the face, and then I liked it very much and decided I really liked that technique. So I tried it again. No idea why I did that. I can't remember. There was a reason. I don't remember what it was, but then I imported it to the next drawing, the next photo, whatever you want to call it. I don't know why I stayed on this jar so long. But then I made that. Kind of funny, but it was fun to play with. And after that, I made a coffee cup, and I originally didn't have the blue line on it. And then I added the blue line, but didn't like it, so I added some shapes. But then the cup didn't match, so I added some shapes on the cup too. But I think I like the second one better than the third one. And then, yesterday, I did this piece. I'm not totally satisfied with how it turned out, but you can tell that I've been making progress. So let's get into the piece that I started on today after this picture goes away. So and what you do is you click the plus sign, so then you click the size that you want, and you have a new drawing. And now I already know that I want the diamond tool, so I stamped that on there in the color that I wanted. And then I wasn't really sure what I wanted, so I just played with different pens until I figured out what it was that I wanted. I had no idea what I was drawing whatsoever, but I really liked the rose, so I was like, well, let's go with it. And let's experiment on how to make a stem. But I decided I didn't like it over, so I added a different layer underneath and drew in these blocks because I thought it looked kind of cool. And I had to experiment a little bit with getting the dimensions, the depth, and the rainbow brush I thought was super cool, but I didn't like it where it was. Had to play around with it a little to get it to a place where I actually liked it, but I liked it as the background of the rose. So that's what I went with. And then I just adjusted it a little bit. And now we have it right. And after that, I experimented with some more brushes. I think I was looking for leaves. Well, not leaves, but I was trying to make leaves, and I ended up using leaves. That was kind of unintentional, but I couldn't figure out what to do because the stem was so weird. So I ended up going with leaves, and I didn't like it, so I erased it all. And then I put some more leaves on there. Now we're gonna zoom in. Why are we zooming in? I don't remember. Oh, I was playing around with different pens again, and that one looked really cool. But I didn't like what I was doing, so I ended up changing it again and again. And here's the glitter flower now. So after that, I decided I needed some depth. So I experimented around with different brushes to try to figure out what I needed to do to make that happen. Lace was not it. Neither were any of these brushes. Dots didn't work. Neon was definitely not going to work. That's weird. And I'm trying my best. I hate it. Let's see if this works. Kinda, but not really. Let's try a different layer. Hey, it works as a shadow. Yeah, let's make the sun coming from the right-hand side, or the light, rather. Not necessarily the sun. There is no sun in this picture, but the light is coming from the left side. Technically, it's coming from the left and towards the top. With the way I did the blip, 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 very far left with the way that I did the shadows. And then I decided to play around and try to shade in underneath the stem and underneath the leaves so that it looked like it's popping off the page. So I just made the black shadow, and then I used the blur. I think I might have smudged it. We'll have to see in a second because I don't remember what I did. But I wanted it to blend in. After I made the shadow, I wanted it all to blend in better. So I used blur, yes. I find that I like blur better than smudge, usually. So I just went ahead and blurred all that out so it looked a little more realistic, even though this really isn't a realistic flower. And then I wanted to outline the flower itself, so I was trying to figure out what to do, and I didn't like it. I thought it was stupid, hated it, so I blurred it out. It kind of worked, but not really. I didn't really like that either, so I undid it. Tried again, and I just didn't like what I was doing. So I ended up changing techniques and just went straight for shading. And so to do that, I played around with which brush I wanted, and then I used various shades of the flower color where it looked like it was swooping under. I made it darker, and where it looked like there would have been a raised bump, I made it lighter, and the edges around the sides I thought would be raised as well, so I made those a little bit lighter than the other part of the flower, so you could see that the dimension is coming in. And that's pretty much what I did for all of the flower petals. The same technique pretty much all the way around. I went in with the dark colors first, and then I went in around the very edge because I figured the edge is probably raised more because I didn't go off of a photo this time. Normally when I do something that's a little bit more realistic, I go off of a photo. This time I didn't. The flowers are something I really like to draw, so I can kind of go off memory a little bit. But I went for the raised edge around the side, so I went in and I took the dropper color, and then I just lightened the color that I used for the base. And then I went in and I did shading on the next petal, and then you'll see what I did after I shade. And to do that, I zoomed in a lot. You can zoom in and out on this program. It's wonderful. It's actually easier. There's some aspects that are easier than drawing on a regular picture, because on a regular photo you can't really zoom in or out. So sometimes it makes it a little bit difficult to work with and know what you're really doing. You can take a step back, and you can lean forward, but sometimes it's hard to really tell if you're doing a smaller photo or a smaller painting, drawing, picture, whatever you want to call it. But this is great because you can actually pinch it to zoom in and then zoom back out and see what you did, and then zoom back in again. And so I was just adding some more light on that petal, and now you see the first two petals look very different and a little bit more realistic than all the other petals. After I was done with this, I decided that the very bottom of the petal needed some more dimension, and we haven't gotten there yet, so you'll see it here in a minute. But what I did was I took one of the brushes, I made it pretty small, and I took black. I didn't use a variation of the existing color. Instead, I took black and I outlined the very edge of the petals on the inside only, not the outside, just the inside. And you'll see how most of the petals are kind of triangular shaped, so it's just that one flat side, and you'll see here in a second. Right now I'm still playing around with shading and getting it right, and shading takes a little while no matter what you're doing. I will say I think shading for me, okay, see here, this is what I'm talking about. I outlined it in black, and that just gave it some more depth, so you see it looks like it's popping off the page more. And for me, doing pencil drawing, it's easier to shade than it was for this, but part of that might be just because I'm just not really that used to this medium yet, because I've only been doing it a week. Part of it might be because sometimes doing something that's actually tangible, my mind grasps a little better. And whoopsie, my YouTube video is done uploading. How rude. So loud. Actually, it's not even on YouTube yet. It was just the editor. So rude. Interrupting our rose piece. We're making a masterpiece here, don't you know? Anyway, so as you can tell, I'm somebody who likes very, very bright colors, and I like rainbow colors too, and they just do. And if you'll notice, my brand colors are that pink, that hot pink, and then the background, the neon turquoise that I used, and black. It's because I love bright colors, but not like JoJo Siwa does. I love JoJo Siwa, don't get me wrong, I think she's awesome. I love the fact that she is just all in on her dreams, and that's the message that she's spreading. But it's nothing but bright rainbow colors. And I'm more, give me the bright rainbow colors, but let it be classy. More classy, however you want to call it. And so like the black with the pop of the hot pink and the pop of the hot turquoise is perfect for me. That was a total side note, just information about myself that you didn't ask for, but I gave you anyway. So right now it takes a while to shade. I think this particular drawing took almost 2 hours. And now I will say that it probably would have only taken like, I don't know, maybe an hour if I knew I was doing it. Probably only would have taken about an hour. And yes, I am tired. Sorry about the yawn. I hope you didn't yawn too. Did you yawn too? If you did, leave a comment down below because I really want to know. Because I'm just entertained now. Now we're just going in and out, seeing what the shading looks like. And we're only about halfway done with this. Shading, like I said, the shading for the flower petals took a really long time. Because I wasn't really used to working with these brushes. I wasn't really sure which, I was trying to get down how to work all of that and what techniques to use and how to blend it all out and whatnot. By the time I got to the second half, it went a lot faster than the first half. So that was a good thing. And if you'll notice, where I placed the glitter is the high part of the rose, and so it kind of accentuates the light area, so it also worked as a highlight. I used it with the, normally you would put, words are hard sometimes, normally you would put the shading on and then do that, but I was playing around with brushes and trying to see what I even wanted to do, so that's not what happened that time. But if you'll notice, I used the shading to work with the glitter though. When I placed the glitter, I placed it where you would find the high parts of the roses. And so when I did the shading, that's the technique I used as well. So the lightest part of the rose, the second lightest part of the rose, sorry, the lightest part is that very, very edge. And then the second lightest part of the rose is that high point of the petal where it's kind of rounded out. And like the middle goes towards the ceiling, and then the sides go down towards the floor if you were looking at it that direction. And that's where I placed the glitter because it added that highlight. So hopefully that helps you with your art. If you have any art questions, I don't know if I'll have an answer, but I might be able to find it for you, and I'd be more than willing to help you out in any way that I can, and answer what I can. See, the second half went much faster than the first half of the petals. I don't really know what else to say about this. I was just shading. Don't throw shade at me. I'll throw it right back at you with my drawings. Oh, goodness gracious. I don't know why y'all are sitting here watching this video. It is weird. And yes, if you are bothered by the watermark in the right hand corner, I am so sorry. I use InShot and I don't personally mind the watermark in the corner. So I don't pay for it. I think I did on one video, but I used it as an ad. I could pay for it. And this part here, it doesn't bother me. But this part here, I was trying to figure out, I knew I didn't like the background stark white, but I wasn't liking any of the other colors either. So I ended up going with just like a little bit of a yellowy white. And then I found that really cool prism brush because I wanted like beams of light going out towards the right corner as though the sun, and then I found that prism brush, thought it was really cool, and so that's how I ended it. And here is the final and finished piece. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you did, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any new videos. Dream big and take action, my lovelies.